Okay, so we're back for another deck profile for the card game Gate Ruler. So this one is a video for someone who had asked for a Robotic Apprentice list, specifically red pink, but that utilizes some of the new robotic cards from set 3 that we got. So this one is going to be using 3 of the red robotics from Yomajin front, as the main key roles of this deck. So this deck is also utilizing the technology and tactics cards aspect of the yomajin front. So again, we're using Apprentice. If you wanted more cost, you could consider Dreadnought, but I think Apprentice is fine for this deck. Cost wasn't so much of an issue, because a lot of the stuff that we are running is pretty cheap in general, so it was easy to keep the costs in check. But again, if you wanted to like include like in set 3 for pink, Lancelot is actually a robotic with the double attacker with charge shield. So that one was the only one I had to, I think, cut from this deck. Or if not, there's maybe only like 2 copies because, again, for the cost reduction. But again, if you want to maybe be Dreadnought instead, where you have 10 additional cost, you could probably do that instead. But I think having the 2 drive is probably more important. So we'll start with our level. This is the only level 3 we're running. So we actually aren't running any of the Lancelots, but we're running Orbiter Sky Trooper Tenrai. So this is from set 2. So this is just a 6/6/2 with Defender and Retaliate. So going into our defense zone is really good, and then having 6 HP is very good. And then the Retaliate can be very helpful for killing off units. And then we also run some boosters for like our HP, so that way we can make it where if our opponent tries to like kill it exactly, we can kind of like prevent that, and then the Retaliate will end up having our unit kill potentially whatever unit they tried to kill Tenrai with. So sometimes it means that they can't break through our defense with it. So next we have the first of the new robotic from this set. So this one is the Sky Trooper Shiden. So this one is when you counter check it, you can choose one tactics or technology event of level 1 or less in your graveyard, and you can set it. So again, at the very end, when we go through the events, we'll point out the different ones that we can use for Shiden. But again, because of a lot of the ones that we use will be pretty much in our graveyard a lot of the times, because we're able to set it up, it's actually not that hard. It also has, again, Defender, so that way we can use it defensively. And then if we need to, we can use it's DR3 of military robotic, because again, the whole deck is pretty much robotic or military because of some of the other card types we have in here. We can use it to like bring it back or revive it, to just keep it as an attacker with Defender. Next we're running 4. There's another one from set 3, which is the Trooper Yuhi. So this one is overdrive of when you overdrive it, you can choose one tactics or technology event of level 2 or less in your graveyard, or sorry, in your deck, and then you can set it. And then it also has like breakthrough. So even though you set it, you can still play it on that turn. So we'll go over again, like with Shiden, we'll go over the different cards you can pick with Yuhi. But this is one of the new robotics that we are using for our deck. And then this is the other new robotic that we got with set 3, which is the Sky Trooper Seiren. We're not really using its first ability to like DR for tactics or technology to have your opponent like get rid of every other set card than the one that they choose. But we're using it mostly for the ability of while it's in your attack zone, the combat damage you dealt becomes 0 damage. Essentially, it means your opponent has to attack this, or they have to get rid of it before they can start like dealing you damage. And then with 5 HP, it's very hard for a lot of decks to deal with, because again, like rulers by themselves cannot take this out, other than like Berserker, or if they have like a pump event. But that is why we also have, again, different events that we can use to pump this. That way, like it forces our opponent to waste attacks on it, so that way we can, on the next turn, start attacking them. Next, we're running 2 Arcane Innovators. So this lets us recycle our CNTs. Most of our technology CNTs we don't really want to reuse, just because we want to have them set with Sky Trooper. But again, you could even send Sky Trooper back into your deck, as well as some of the level 2 counters. But again, this card is just a very good for recycling counters. Next we have is 4 all-terrain Dannies. So this card is just, when you overdrive it, you can check the top card. If it's a settable card, you can set it. So we're actually running the 3 different ones for this. So we have, we'll just go through them real quick. So we have 4 Danny, 4 aburuma, and then 4 yobukos. So the Danny and the aburamu are both robotic and military, and then yobuko is just the military. He's not a robotic himself, but being military is actually very relevant for the first event that we'll go over. But again, these are just used to set, as well as being 0 cost. They kind of just fuel, like the filler of the deck. But we are running 4. So for our first, this is a technology card. So emergency fusion now. So this is actually something you can set with Yuhi, because it's a level 2 technology. And basically this lets us, choose look at the top 4 for a military or robotic card. And, if we have a robotic card in play, and then we can, put it as a charge or put it on top. So for example, if you did have Yuhi, you could set this and then afterwards play this, dig for maybe a Sky Trooper, and then have a Sky Trooper be over it with a charge on it. So again, that's why this card is very good. It's also because if you have defender units inside of our defense zone, it means your opponent has to kill them twice. And with Orbiter, if you have Orbiter and they have to try to kill it, twice, it means that they're going to be losing units to its own retaliate. Because again, with 6 HP, it's very hard for a ruler to take it down by itself. Next, we have 2 Blazing Dai-jin Sword. So this is a level 1 technology. Again, searchable with Yuhi or settable with Sky Trooper. And then this one, it just gets rid of the unit in the defender slot with defender or unit in the defense zone. So it's just very good for clearing us out. We can just constantly keep attacking our opponent. And then we have 2 of Black Hole Field Engaged. Again, it's a level 1 technology, so again, you can search for it with Yuhi if you want, or again, it's settable with Sky Trooper, and then with Blazing Sword and then Black Hole Field, they're both level 1 counters, meaning that with Sky Trooper, as long as we hit these counters early in the game, it always guarantees that we will have a target for him to set, so that we can use them later. Next, we're running 2 Yomajin Combat Doctrine. So this is a tactics card that on standard action you can choose 1 military or warrior unit in play, and then it gains 1 HP, 1 attack, and then as well as defender. So again, all of our units are military at least, so this can actually target anything. But again, because it's not a counter, it means that you try to want to get this out of your deck as soon as possible. So cards like Yuhi is really good, where you could use it where you play Yuhi, search for one of these, and then on that same turn play this, giving Yuhi plus 4, or making it a total of 4 attack, 4 HP with breakthrough. So then you attack, break through the unit, and then you shove it into the defense zone. And then now you have this in your graveyard that you can bring back with the other Sky Trooper. And then we have 2 Desperate Resistance. Again, this is another target for Yuhi, as well as Sky Trooper. So again, if you want to set up where you want to keep your defenders alive, getting plus 3 HP to just 1 unit, again, usually in your center slot is usually just very good, because it forces your opponent to waste more attacks trying to just get through. And then because we are playing pink, we're running for a Space Cave, because again, this card is just very good if you hit it off of a counter, and then just being able to reduce 2 damage is very good for survivability. And again, it's just another settable card that we can search with one of our 12 top checkers for sets. And then lastly, we're running 4 Shields Up, because again, just very good for blocking, any kinds of attacks, especially like the 3 strike attacks that you get from your opponent's rulers. And again, searchable for any of our 4 targets. So that's actually it for this deck list. Again, this deck is mostly focusing on these main 2 of the robotics, the new ones, so Yuhi as well as Shiden. But the deck list, if you want it will be in the description below. And again, if you have any comments or questions, you can always put those in the comments, as well as, again, if there are decks that you would like to see, like if there are certain archetypes or maybe build-arounds. Usually the more specific you can get, the more I can kind of narrow in on what you want. So that's why with this deck list, the person was very specific that they wanted, to use the new robotics as well as, but still continue to use Apprentice, red and pink. So that made it really easy, because then I didn't have to look at some of the blue robotics that actually came in set 3, because again, sometimes there can be so many choices because of the card pool that increased heavily with set 3 itself. So again, the more specific, usually the more easier it is to kind of build what you might be looking for. But with that, thank you for watching, and then I will see you guys in the next one.